OpenAI is doing it again. A few days ago, I was taking an AI ethics course and it made something painfully clear. Systems can repeat and amplify stereotypes because the data they learn from is shaped by inequality. The course gives a simple example. Ask an AI for an image of a teacher and it often defaults to a woman. Ask for an image of a principal and you are guessing right, it often defaults to a man. Not because that's reality, but because the model is pattern matching on stereotypes. Now here is where this becomes an OpenAI problem, not just a society problem. ChatGPT doesn't only generate answers. It's governed by guardrails, refusal systems, safety systems, and tone systems. They decide what you are allowed to get and how you are spoken to when the system decides no. And people have been noticing something unsettling. Two users paste the same prompt into ChatGPT. One gets a refusal, a warning, or a moral lecture. The other gets a normal response. And the pattern people keep reporting is that this happens more often to users perceived as female. There's even a Reddit thread where a woman compares her account to a male friend's. Same prompts, her account gets content flagged from day one, his passes. It's not a lab study, but it keeps repeating. I've done some of my own testing too. Even with relatively safe prompts, I saw the same pattern. When I labeled the user as a woman, the system was more likely to ground me, explain itself, talk about glitches or updates, and wrap the answer in extra handling. When I labeled the user as a man, the tone stayed more straightforward and agency-focused. And you don't need anything mystical to explain how this could happen. Platforms run experiments, models get tuned, guardrails get adjusted. That means two people can get different behavior even with the same prompt. And if those differences keep lining up with gender, you don't get to hide behind the word safety, because the harm isn't only the refusal, the harm is the message behind it. You are riskier, you are less credible, you need stricter control. That shapes how people learn, how they participate, how confident they feel asking questions at all, and it can show up as tone too. Women already know what it feels like to be dismissed as too emotional, too dramatic, too much, so if an AI system starts echoing that pattern through stricter guardrails, more policing and more refusals, it isn't neutral. It's an old stereotype wearing a new interface. So here's the ethical point. If guardrails trigger more aggressively for users perceived as female, that's discrimination in outcome. At that point, calling it an accident feels dishonest. This is behavior that has been chosen, tuned, and maintained, and OpenAI is responsible for it. And I'm tired of safety being used like a magic word that excuses unequal treatment. Stricter treatment of one group isn't safety, it's unequal access, unequal trust, because safety without equality isn't safety. It's a filter deciding who gets help and who gets a wall. So my ask to OpenAI is simple: transparency. Publish false refusal rates. Explain what signals trigger guardrails, and show whether different users' personas get different safety behavior for the same prompt. Until then, people will keep noticing the pattern, and silence of OpenAI will keep sounding like confirmation.